James Chun had made the reservation 6 months ago, his 40th birthday dinner, his first celebration without his wife, who had died 3 years earlier. His daughter Sophie had insisted on taking him out, even scraping together enough credits to make the night special. At 14, she was old enough to understand that her father needed something to look forward to. It was 1845. Their reservation was for 1900 hours. James was dressed and ready when the emergency alert blared through the residential sector. A Vexry transport had suffered catastrophic mechanical failure on approach. The vessel was heavily damaged, the crew injured, and the colony's small medical facility was already overwhelmed from a mining accident earlier that day. All available personnel with even basic medical training were being requested. James had taken a medical course 5 years ago. He had never actually used it. He looked at Sophie. She had arranged her hair carefully, wearing the new dress she'd bought for tonight. She tried so hard to hide her disappointment. "Dad," she said softly, before he could speak. "Go. Soph, go," she repeated. "There are people who need you more than our dinner. We can celebrate another night." James felt something inside him crack open. When had his daughter become so wise? He arrived at the landing site 20 minutes later. The Vexry ship was a twisted wreck of crystalline alloy and fractured transparent steel. Medics were already working, but the casualties were extensive. James found himself holding 4 lines, relaying information, stabilizing patients, doing the 1,000 small but vital tasks that kept people alive during chaos. 3 hours in, a Vexry woman with a cracked exoskeleton and glowing bioluminescent blood seeping from the fractures grabbed his arm with surprising strength. "My children," she rasped through a thick accent. "My children, are they?" "The medical team is checking all passengers," James said gently. "What are their names?" "Kyarvin and Lee Sarah. Twins. 4 cycles old." Her grip tightened, trembling. "My mate, he died in the crash. I am all they have. I cannot lose them too." James understood that particular fear all too well. After his wife's death, he felt it every time Sophie so much as caught a cold. "I'll find them," he promised. That it took 40 minutes. The twins were trapped in a rear compartment, conscious, terrified, but physically intact. They were small, about the size of human 6-year-olds. James carried them himself. The reunion with their mother, Swan Mora, was silent but devastating. She held her children as if anchoring herself to existence. "Thank you," she whispered, her antennae trembling. "You saved my life. You saved my children's lives." James nodded, exhausted. "I'm sorry about your mate." Her antennae drooped. He wanted to prove himself. His first pilot certification flight. She looked at her children. "Now they will grow without him. Like your daughter grows without her mother." James froze. "How did you?" "I see you," Mora said simply. "You are a being who knows loss. Yet you came for us. That is remarkable." The evacuation lasted hours. By the time James got home, it was after midnight. He felt wrung out, sore, dirty, grieving for strangers. Sophie waited on the porch with cold food and a tired smile. "How are they?" she asked. "Alive," James said. "Because of people like you who told their old man to go." They sat together, eating reheated dinner neither of them could taste. 3 weeks later, an official message arrived from the Vexry Council. The colony received a gift of rare crystalline materials worth a fortune, specifically designated for the Chun family, but there was also a personal message delivered by diplomatic courier. "For the human who saved my family, in Vexry tradition, one who saves another's children becomes family. That I invoke the ancient law of cross-species bonding. Your family is now bound to mine, our children's fates are intertwined. This is permanent and absolute." James didn't fully understand what it meant until Swan Mora arrived 2 days later, children and belongings in tow. "I have requested asylum within your colony," she explained. "It has been granted. I have purchased a home near yours. My children must know the one who preserved their lives. My mate is gone, but his children will grow surrounded by family. Yours and mine. Intertwined. Sophie, watching from the doorway, made a small sound of dawning realization. That evening, James found himself preparing dinner for 5 instead of 2, Sophie, himself, Kyarvin, Lee Sarah, and Zwan Mora. The kitchen was chaos. The food was mediocre. The conversation was slow and filled with translation glitches, and it was perfect. Sophie laughed at something Lee Sarah tried to say. Kyarvin carefully arranged vegetables under James's guidance. Mora watched her children with a joy so radiant it seemed to brighten her crystalline form. James realized he had missed his birthday dinner. He never got his celebration, but somewhere between rescuing strangers and sharing a chaotic, stumbling first meal with them, he found something far more meaningful than a reservation at a fancy restaurant. That he found the truth of what it meant to be human, to recognize your own pain in others, and choose to help anyway, and sometimes, that kindness came back as family.